Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Front Row Friday Show. Let's get started. Hey, everybody. Good to see you on this fine Friday morning. I am actually coming to you from beautiful New Orleans, Louisiana, in the French Quarter, which is pretty darn quiet right now. As you might imagine, I am here getting my son moved into his sophomore year in college. And so knock on wood that goes okay. So we're just going to jump. So this is my hotel room, ladies and gentlemen. I am doing everything from hotel rooms. We decided to drive on this road trip. Well, how else would you do a road trip? I mean, we decided to drive instead of fly. So I'm still not ready to get on a plane. No way, no how. So it's a 15-hour drive, and we broke it up into little chunks. So we stopped in Louisville, Kentucky, our first night. Our second night, we stayed in Birmingham, Alabama. And then tonight we are in New Orleans, and he moves in on Saturday, and I might stick around here till Monday. And then I'm going to take my sweet time going back. So it's all good. All right. So let's jump into the good stuff. Okay. Let me share my screen. Wait. Whoops. Oops. All righty. You should be seeing my screen. Okay. So we're going to start with our social media updates. And the first thing that I want to tell you about is that, you've been able to advertise to groups for a while. But now what they're going to do is do this thing called sponsorship. Partnership rather, which is just an extension of the branded content. So, like if you get permission to be a branded content creator for ConvertKit, right? Then you would each be able to tag each other basically in your ads. Or a lot of times you'll see an influencer promoting a product, and it will say, and it didn't used to do this, and this is the right thing to do. It will say like in partnership with Dove soap or whatever. So this is a way that you can partner with brands in your group. And of course, this is a great idea this is wonderful for the brands, because a Facebook group is 1,000% their target audience. So, if I'm selling puppy food and you have a group that is all about how to train puppies, like that's such a score for me as the puppy food company. So you can read all about the details of that on the show notes page at jenlehner.com/flash, or you can get the whole slide deck and all these notes by just typing show notes into the comments, and our bot will deliver the deck to you. Now, if you're not watching on our Facebook business page, this will not work, because we are right now broadcasting on our business page and our Facebook groups, on Twitter, Periscope, YouTube. We are everywhere right now. This will only work on the show notes page. So the other way to get it is go to frontrowclassroom.com and look in the files section, and you'll see all the notes and resources there. Okay. It's harder for me to do this on my little tiny MacBook Air than it is on my big fat desktop in my home office. So I'm going a little more slowly than usual. Okay, so Facebook has announced the establishment of a new Facebook financial group to oversee various payment initiatives. So it's no secret that Facebook has wanted to wipe out PayPal and Venmo and everybody else all along. So this just tells me that they're moving one step closer to being a bank or something like a bank. Facebook has also announced that they're going to remove over 1,000 ad targeting options because they're either not used very often or they replicate other targeting categories. So if there's a certain little thing that you like to target when you go into your Facebook ads manager and you don't see it anymore, that's why. Last week when TikTok released their inspired, and by I mean inspire, I mean when let me back up. When Instagram released their TikTok inspired new function called Reels, and what they mean by inspired is like complete 1,000% copycat of TikTok, and they're calling it Reels. Hopefully that made sense. I just got my coffee just now. It was missing a dedicated button. Like you cannot just like, where is it? Where can I watch the Reels? So Social Media Today had this image on an article today. And so it looks like they are testing out a dedicated button right here, down there where the little hand is pointing, which is near the plus button where you add content to your Instagram feed. So that's a smart idea, but it's like in testing. It's not out yet, but hopefully they'll make that happen soon. I don't really understand this, but Twitter might make it easier for users to view quote retweets, and they're going to appear under tweets with their own counter, which is similar to the number of retweets and likes that are displayed. I don't really understand. I think maybe it's if you retweet with a comment, they're counting that, I guess. I don't know. After testing over the last few months, this is quite significant. Twitter announced that you have control over basically who can reply to any of your tweets. Okay. Number one is everybody. Number two is only people who you follow. And number three is only people who you mention. Now, tweets with the latter two settings, which is only people you follow or only people who you mention, Twitter settings will be labeled and the reply icon will be grayed out for people who can't reply. But people who can't reply will still be able to view, retweet and retweet with a comment, share it, like it, and all that. So I guess because it's not going to be blocked from us, we still can comment on it. That's good. But I do think this is a bigger deal than it sounds like on the surface, because fundamentally what Twitter is a giant global open conversation. And for as bad as it can be with the trolls and the evil, mischief makers and stuff, it's still really important to have that open line of communication. And so I just worry about that a little bit. I know their intentions are, I guess based on good things, but it's a slippery slope. So I'm keeping a close eye on that. So TikTok this week announced that they have just released their first recipients of their TikTok Creator Fund, which is basically $1 billion. It started at 200 million. And then when Facebook was like, we're going to pay creators too, then TikTok was like, well, we're going to pay them not 200 million. We're going to give them $1 billion, $1 billion. So I don't know who they are, other than some of them are, I've got to go check. Do you know? I'm hoping Tabitha Brown got some of that initial cash injection. It says there's a chef, I hope that's her, a photographer, a beauty influencer, a healthcare professional, and however many others, 15 others. She's not really a chef, so it's probably not her. Okay. Hi, Karen. Good morning. And TikTok. Oh, this is a good one. So TikTok has added, as you can see, a new option to insert text headings onto video thumbnails. So what we've had to do from currently is that you have to create, text and, like a sticker kind of a thing. And it's just one more step that's kind of an aggravation, but important, because if you'll notice your favorite content creators, when you go back to their page, their profile, and you see all their millions of videos, and you just want to find that one, the one that was about how to grow an avocado plant from an avocado seed. And you can't watch every single video, This allows you to add a caption to your thumbnail so people can easily find what they're looking for. So that's great. And LinkedIn has published a very cool new 32-page guide, and it covers things like why social media managers should spend time on LinkedIn, how to tell your brand story on LinkedIn, how to build an audience on that platform, a guide to their advertising. So we put a link, again, in the show notes on this slide deck. You can get it at frontrowclassroom.com. Nika will throw that link up there in a banner. There we go. Thank you so much. Whoops, I skipped one. I'm not going to go through all these because honestly, I don't know a single soul who uses LinkedIn Sales Navigator, although I know I know people do. It's very popular. It's just not anything that ever comes up in the front row or with any of my clients. But they have made a lot of changes. So if you're a Sales Navigator user, we've got this link with all of the updates for you in the show notes. Also, LinkedIn sold SlideShare. I don't even know if you know this, but SlideShare, which is a place where people share their slide decks, and it's actually a wonderful place to do research. Like if you're building out your own deck on a topic for a presentation or a webinar or something, if you go to slideshare.net, there's just thousands upon thousands of slide decks that people have already created with the information, everything. So very, very helpful, but it never really took off. And it was always LinkedIn owned it. And what it allowed you to do was embed the slide deck on your LinkedIn profile. But it just, people just really didn't use it a whole lot. So they sold it to the ebook publishing software Scribd. And right now it doesn't look like anything has changed. But if you are someone that uses SlideShare and you have integrated it with LinkedIn, you may just want to keep an eye on that to see if anything goes wonky. The other thing, and when I announced this on my flash briefing, and by the way, everything that I'm telling you today is really just a summary of all of the updates that I give every single morning on Amazon. And you could subscribe to the Front Row Entrepreneur, the Front Row Entrepreneur Flash Briefing. So you go to Amazon and then you look under category skills, and it's there if you went on your desktop, or you can go to your Lexi app. Or you could click the link that Nika just put in the chat to subscribe. And basically, you're not subscribing, you're enabling this flash briefing. You can also drag it manually on your phone all the way up to the top. So you might listen to NPR or whatever your favorite flash briefings are, and you could slide mine up to the very top so you hear it first. But whatever, you can hear your flash briefings in the order that you slide them into. And they're 2 to 3 minutes long. And I just give you just the quick news that I think you need to know that might relate to your business. And one of them was this, which is that Google announced a whole bunch of ways to make online education, virtual education, especially including Google Meet conferencing, easier and better. Okay. And many of our kids are going to be using Google and Google Classrooms and Google Meet for their education for this coming school year. And so the changes that they made are really, really great. And I went into detail on the flash briefing because I felt like so many of us have kids. And even if you know it, it doesn't really help if your school doesn't know it. So your school may not even know about these cool new things. So I'm just going to real quickly run through a few of them. So in Google Meet, which is basically the equivalent of Zoom, which used to be Google Hangouts, you can now have up to 49 people on the screen at the same time. Also, they're going to create breakout rooms. So you know how, thank you, Karen. You know how Zoom has those great breakout rooms, or maybe you don't. They're fantastic for any coach out there, for anybody who is facilitating learning in a group setting. You can put people into breakout rooms and then call them back. And so you can imagine how handy this would be for any teacher to send people to practice whatever with the buddy, go into your group, come back and share. Okay. So that's important. Let your teachers know that that is available. In October, teachers are also going to be able to track attendance in Google Meet meetings. Moderators are going to be able to stop people from joining meetings after they've been kicked out of the room or whatever. In September, they're going to let moderators end a meet class for everybody at the same time. And this is handy: bulk approve or reject requests to join a class, turn off in-meeting chat, restrict who can present, and turn on a setting that won't start a meeting until the teacher gets there. They've got this little homework tool that they're doing. Oh, and I thought this was cool. Let's see, I'm just going to read it. Among some of the other non-meet updates Google announced on Tuesday, they shared new tools to help students learn using their phones. So now students can visualize nearly 100 concepts in biology, chemistry, and other STEM topics by searching for them on Google and then looking at a model of that concept in augmented reality on Android and iOS devices. So if you're homeschooling, that's a good thing to know. And they will let students get help with homework problems just by taking a photo of it and using Google Lens or the Google-owned education app Socratic. And all this, of course, is in the show notes. Okie dokie. Vimeo. Oh, I was excited about this because I'm a Vimeo user. Raise your hand if you use Vimeo. Vimeo has this partnership with Pinterest. So you're going to be able to create videos in Vimeo and upload them directly to Pinterest. So along with this announcement, they also gave some tips, some of them obvious, but always good to be reminded, even of the obvious. You want to share fresh information, like duh. You want to keep it short, 6 to 15 seconds. That's very interesting, right? For Pinterest, these need to be very short. But that's so great because now that we're creating reels and TikToks, we're getting into that 15-second jam. So you can multi-purpose these as well. However, you want to create for sound off viewing, right? And that's going to speak to an app we're going to talk about in a minute that was submitted by Rolga, that's going to help us do that very easily as well in another app. But you could do this on Vimeo, and they said that most pinners will be viewing your clips with no sound. So you want to make sure you use captions. Thumbnails do matter, and your branding should be prominent. GIF or GIF. Let me start over. Giphy or Jiffy, the platform where you get your GIFs or your GIFs, was purchased by Facebook back in May. And now they are creating these pre-made backdrops that you can use, like a waterfall or a floating whale, because who doesn't need a floating whale in their backdrop? I just think, you know what? I've used GIFs as my backgrounds before. They're actually a really smart way to stop the scroll. And like, they're doing these for, I'm thinking like Zoom meetings and stuff, but actually I think that would be super distracting. But what is kind of smart is to get a cool GIF or GIF. And they actually on Jiffy, look, I'm just going to say Jiffy. On Jiffy, they have art. So if you go to, there's a category there that says art or artists. If you go, there is just some absolutely beautiful stuff, like very eye-catching and beautiful. And so you could have like this moving background when you're doing a live stream. And that is pretty awesome for stopping the scroll. I do think at some point you turn it off because it could get it again, it could give somebody a headache and just be distracting, but it will get people to stop the scroll. So check that out. And now it is time. Oh no, wait, this is a Snapchat update. Oh, you know what? A lot of times I won't put in the Snapchat updates because we don't have a super engaged Snapchat audience, because my audience skews just a little bit more seasoned. But I thought this was good because it's a bunch of voter registration stuff, again, geared at younger people. However, the voter guides that they're putting in there are super helpful. So I don't know about you. A lot of times I'll save mailers that I get that help me understand like the judges that I want to vote for because I'm not up on my judges or certain referendums or whatever. So, I mean, I know who I'm voting for president, right? We all know that, but I don't know. Like sometimes I need help with some of that other stuff. So there's a voter checklist and there's a voter guide, and all sorts of great stuff. So take a look at it or share it with your young person. And next, we're going to talk about tools and apps that create opportunities. We share these every Tuesday in my free online classroom, The Front Row. Make sure you enjoy it at frontrowclassroom.com. And Krisha shared an app that she likes to create social media graphics called Over. And I went to check it out, and I'm just going to let you go and check it out yourself, madewithover.com. I don't want to get out of the slide deck because it just gets a little bit, takes time, because I'm not going to demonstrate it because I noticed that it is made by GoDaddy, and I just personally don't like GoDaddy. I do have some domains from 100 years ago that I bought on GoDaddy that are still there that I still renew. But overall, I've never liked their platform at all. And so I don't know what they're doing getting into like a Canva type app. It might be amazing, but I personally didn't even want to sign up for a free account. I can't really give you a reason. So you should check it out if you want to. And Krisha swears by it. So go check it out if you want to. It's called Made with Over. And yeah, Canva's great. PicMonkey's great. But I love trying and hearing about these new graphic and video creation tools because a lot of them do things that the others don't. So it's nice to have options. So that's why I definitely wanted to include this. And thank you so much for sharing it. Our next tool is submitted by Kim Sellers Brown, and it is Go Full Page. It's a Chrome extension that allows you to capture a full page screenshot, like web pages and landing pages. So let me explain why you need something like this. I use Fireshot. The way that you get something, it's a free, all this stuff is free. Fireshot's free. This one is free. You just go into the Google, into the Chrome App Store, and you just click it and it will be added to your browser bar. And it's different than taking a screenshot of what you're looking at. So if you're looking at a really long sales page and you just love it, then you can use this little plugin and it will take the whole long thing and you could save it beautifully in your Evernote, in your Google Drive, wherever you keep your things that you want to refer back to. And this is just a really, I think, very important part of good marketing because, we learn by doing, and we also learn by looking at who else is doing it. And if they're doing it well, we can model ourselves what we're doing after them. So sales pages are the perfect example of that because there is just a science to a good sales page. And what works today doesn't necessarily work, 6 months from now. Like there are trends. And so you want to stay up on those trends and see the way people have them organized. And I'm talking about like deconstructing a sales page in a way that you look at it and you can mark it up and be like banner, video, testimonial, value stack, call to action, testimonial, value stack, description, benefits, warranty or guarantee, right? All those sorts of things. So you're not copying their sales page, but you're looking at the way things are laid out. So valuable. Like you think you need to take, a big expensive course that teaches you how to do a landing page. And really you have everything you need when you just go and look at the landing pages that other people are spending thousands of dollars on and making tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars off of. Look at their stuff and just deconstruct it in a way that makes sense. I mean, I'm not saying don't take courses, but that's not a course. I don't really think that's a course you need to take because you could just look and see what's working personally. Just what I think. If you have a sales page course, I'm sorry. I mean, let me back up. Copywriting is different though. You do need to hire a copywriter or become a better copywriter. That's a different story. Okie dokie. I'm starting to get myself into the weeds here. Rolga submitted Threads app. Threads is awesome. And it's an Instagram app that adds automatic captioning real time or unrecorded 15-second videos. You don't have to go anywhere else for closed captioning. With many platforms adopting, I'm reading Rolga's words, by the way, adopting 15-second videos and now Reels rolling out, this app has been super handy for stories and short marketing clips. Okay, so this goes back to what we were saying with the Pinterest videos. You know, need to caption those bad boys? Here you go. Threads really is an awesome app. So go ahead and download Threads. That's a must-have. Now we're going to talk about our book shares. Every Thursday, members of the Front Row share their favorite personal or professional development books. And Mary is currently reading Spin Selling. And it says it is essential reading for anybody involved in selling or managing a sales force. And then, of course, Marie Forleo's Everything is Figure Outable. This was submitted by Kim Gaskell. Thank you so much, Kim. And did you guys see if you're in the B School group, did you see Marie's big announcement? She said that she's out. She's out of that group. She's obviously not out of B School. There was a big, after the George Floyd shooting and when all of that was happening, like there was major conflict in her group and just a lot of shifts and changes and all that sort of stuff. And she finally just said that she wasn't closing it down though. So if you're a member of that group is still active. She or B School is they're not affiliated with that group anymore. This was submitted by Krisha. Thank you so much. I hope I'm saying, is it Krisha or Krisha? I think it's Krisha. So this was submitted by Krisha, and it's do less, be more. The promise of becoming more by doing less sounds incredible and almost too good to be true, but people intuitively know it's possible when they get engaged. So I am interested in that title for sure. Thank you for that. Lisa Foley Hawcom is submitting The Serving Leader, 5 powerful actions to transform your team, business, and community. And it's from the Ken Blanchard series, Simple Truths Uplifting the Value of People in Organizations. Awesome. Thank you for that, Lisa. And I wanted to let you know that a new podcast episode dropped, and you could find it right here at jenlehner.com/056 or anywhere you get your podcasts. And better yet, just subscribe to the podcast anywhere you get your podcast, and you will never miss an episode. And this is just a little episode. It's pretty short, but it's all about baby steps for creating systems in your business. And so I think you might want to check that out. And while you're there, would so appreciate it if you would take a moment to leave a review, 5 stars in a review over on iTunes would be super helpful. It really does help more people find the podcast to listen to it. I want to let you know that Front Row VIP, my private membership site, is open. VIP is full of a giant library of trainings dedicated to being a better entrepreneur in general, business development, social media marketing, all sorts of marketing, and everything that goes with that. We have a wonderful networking community. We have guest experts that come in at least once a month to give us some sort of very specific laser training on a topic that you request, basically. So we had a request for a sales training, and I don't know anybody who does a better sales training than Patty Lennon. She just did a training this month. Nika Stewart just did a TikTok training. I have lots of courses in there. And then we do laser coaching strategy calls twice a month where I answer your questions specifically about your business. You submit it on a Friday, by Friday rather. And then on Tuesday, I will answer your question on this live call and send you a link with a timestamp to that answer. Obviously, I don't have all the answers. So whatever I don't know the answer to, I will bend over backwards to find out the best place for you to get that information. And wanted to remind you that on Monday, we are kicking off our very popular Solopreneur to CEO Secrets 4-part training series. And this is all about moving from the, bedraggled, frazzled, overworked, stressed out solopreneur who is really struggling to just get some breathing room in your business to really being the true CEO in your business, with a business that runs on systems, that allows you to focus on the things that you started the business to do in the beginning, the stuff that actually creates revenue in your business. That's what our focus is. We also have a little pop-up group that's accompanying this series, which I hope you'll join. Nika, if you have the link to the pop-up group, that would be great if you could stick that in the chat. And that's where we're going to be discussing. It's just a temporary group, but we're going to be discussing all the trainings in there. We're going to have giveaways. I'm going to be doing audits, all sorts of good stuff. So you don't want to miss that. And that's it for today's Front Row Friday show in terms of our content. And now I'm going to stop the share and see if anybody has any questions or comments that I might be able to help you with. Anything you want to share? Did you have any big wins this week? I'll tell you that I had an epiphany. You know how sometimes you'll get that icebreaker question of like, who are the 3 people or 4 people you would want to have dinner with, living or dead? And it throughout history, like, who are the 4 people you would want to have dinner with? That's always really so hard for me to answer, because the truth is there's people who I think are the most awesome, but at the same time, it's like, I don't really know if I would want to have dinner with them, right? Like, conversation might be kind of awkward. I don't know. But I was thinking that so I still don't have the 4, but this is what I discovered on the road trip, listening to podcasts and stuff. I definitely know one of the 4. Okay. And at my dinner party, it would be Jamie Foxx. I think Jamie Foxx is like the most incredibly talented human being to ever live. And I think he would be so much fun to have at your table, because he would just be, I just think he would be just so fun. And so, Jamie, if you're watching, you are invited to my dinner party. And who about you? Is there one person? Let's just end on that note. Is there one person, without a doubt, living or dead? Okay, so Karen says Princess Diana and Mozart for sure. Ooh, so good. Yes. But see, like, that's what I mean. Princess Diana would be cool to have, but then I would feel very awkward around her, because the stuff I would want to talk to her about, I would just feel like maybe I would probably cross the line and be offensive. Plus, she is the most poised of the poised, and so I would surely use the wrong fork. I would do something I would be very uncomfortable around her. But Mozart, far enough, he would be forgiving, because he would be so far from the past that any kind of like savage behavior on my part, he would forgive, because he would understand that I'm just like a savage from the future. So, okay, let's see here. Let me just give it just a couple seconds, because we do have a delay on this live stream. Nika, how about you? Who would you have? Put it in the chat. Who would you have dinner with? Famous, living or dead? We have to look. Karen said savage behavior. Haha. You would know that, like, if you brought somebody like Mozart to, I don't know, maybe they ate like savages back then. I doubt it. Or not. I mean, think about eating. I mean, just everything, I'm sure he would feel like he was in outer space. All right. Well, looks like everybody's being a little shy today. That's okay. Have a wonderful weekend. If you aren't a member of the Front Row, make sure you join so we can keep the conversation going over there. Have a wonderful weekend. Be safe, be well. And I will see you Monday for the first video in our Solopreneur to CEO training series. Okay. Bye-bye.